This is a Ufc Vegas 103 recap. So in the prelims, Ramazan won a unanimous decision. My initial thoughts were that Charles Johnson was going to get the decision. He lost the first round, and the second round seemed like a stalemate. I didn't think any fighter really took that round by the horns, and Johnson clearly won the third round. So perhaps this fight could have been a draw, but I thought Johnson won. From the second round on, Tamirov was just constantly on the back foot, swinging big occasional punches, and Johnson was the one pressuring and initiating, which was a complete turnaround from the first round. So that's why I thought the judges should have given him the second and third round. It was kind of a sketchy decision, in my opinion. Next, J.J. Aldridge versus Andrea Lee. J.J. Aldridge won by decision. Overall, it was a good call by the judges, although the fight was pretty boring. JJ inflicted the most damage. There was no jiu-jitsu battling in this fight, so it was pretty random when her coach approached her after the fight and gave her the black belt. Maybe it was to add some excitement to the fight, since the fight itself was boring. And shout out to the commentary team for trying to make the fight interesting with their commentary. It honestly did help. And at times, I also felt like I was watching a tennis match, because the noises the girls were making every time they threw a strike, or even when they were just fainting, it would be like, it was really weird. Next fight, Danny Silva versus Lucas Almeida. Danny Silva won by split decision. It looked like Lucas wasn't taking the headshots very well, and that Danny Silva could have put him down if he had pressed the action more and landed some more power shots to the head in a consecutive fashion, but he didn't. And also, Danny Silva was starting to slow down in the third round, while Lucas Almeida still looked fresh and looked like he was starting to turn it on. But the decision was what it was. Next, we had Chepe Mariscal versus Ricardo Ramos. Chepe won by unanimous decision. This was a good call by the judges. He clearly won. Chepe was the primary aggressor the whole fight, applying pressure, winning a clear decision. His opponent did have moments with some big shots or close misses with potential big shots, which could have gotten him a knockout. But he didn't land any of those cleanly to put him away. And other than that, he wasn't throwing as much as he needed to even win himself a decision. Next, Mario Pinto knocked out Austin Lane. Well, for some reason, Austin Lane got too comfortable and decided to start trading punches, and then he got knocked out, just as we've seen before. He's notorious for having a weak chin, so it was very frustrating to watch him fight like that, especially when he had so much success against Rebeles de Spain by following that game plan to go for takedowns and control him on the ground, or to control the fight against the fence. So for him to not do that in this fight against Mario Pinto was disappointing. As far as Mario Pinto, he's very picky with his shot selection, but it seems to be good shot selection. And along with that, he does have good power when he throws his power. I'm not sure about his takedowns, because he was not able to get one against Austin Lane, even though he did attempt one. And that's what happened. Next, super surprising to see Danny Barlow get knocked out by Sam Patterson. He clearly did not respect the power of striking of Patterson. Kind of looked like he was stalking him, trying to get a highlight reel KO, and then ended up being the highlight reel, which is a complete shock. And in the future, when I watch Danny Barlow's other fights before this match, I'm going to have to look closely to see what the difference was in his game plan, or if it was just his opponent, because this does not look like the Danny Barlow that I've researched. But an impressive performance by Sam Patterson, who kept it technical and stayed sharp. Next, we had Haider Emil versus William Gomez. Haider Emil won a decision, split decision. Back-to-back surprising results. And I did think he deserved the decision, although it was a close fight. Strikes were almost even, but Haider was able to avoid the big strikes from Gomez, while able to maintain his ring generalship and pressuring Gomez the entire fight, including some takedowns. Gomez looked good, but being on the back foot almost the entire fight did not look good in the end when it went to to the judges, and especially when the strike count was so close. For a person who has good shot selection like William Gomez, and I would like to see him be a little more vicious with his strikes. He clearly has good shot selection and he likes those teeps up the middle. He has good strikes, but I'd like to see him every now and then throw one of those strikes with mean intentions. Every now and then throw one with the intention to KO his opponent, not just to land. I think that could help to get him more finishes. Next, we had Nasrat versus Esteban, and Nasrat won the decision. This was a good fight, and I think it could have gone either way. Esteban Ribovic landed a head kick at the very end, which wobbled Nasrat. If there was more time on the clock, I think he would have finished him. That was a pretty gangster moment by Esteban. He rocked him, and then Nasrat threw his arms up, so what? But then immediately did the tiniest of chicken dances, and then Esteban mocked him with his own little chicken dance. I think he should have been. I wouldn't have been mad if the judges had given him the decision at that point. But did go to Nasrat like I predicted. Next, we had Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez. Cody Brundage won like I predicted. He won by KO at the end of round 1. It was a good fight. He almost got KO'd himself. And then part of me wonders what would have happened if the ref hadn't paused the fight to give them both their mouthpieces. Because right after that moment, Marquez got dropped hard and then finished. But previous to the ref getting in the middle, it looked like the momentum was at a stalemate or even slightly towards Julian because he had the center and had Cody against the fence. But what could have been, no point in wondering. And then the main event, Manel Kape versus Asu Almabayev. Manel Kape won. He looked great on the feet. His takedown defense looked great. But there was controversy with him scraping Asu's eyes, I think, a couple of times. Nobody likes to see a fight end like that. And who knows, they had more rounds left. So it's not fair. You never know what your opponent can do in the later rounds, even if you're winning the first several rounds. They have all those other rounds for a reason because your opponent can always adjust and come back to win. So that's unfortunate for Asu, but Manel Kape did win. And just to look at my picks, so review over here to the right, got 6 out of 10. The 3 perfect picks were Nasrat Akropost by decision, and then I had Mariscal by KO, and that was not perfect, but sorry. I had Silva by decision, and then Aldridge by decision. Yeah, and the losers were Johnson by decision. That could have gone either way. Lane by decision. Freaking Lane can't stick to a proven game plan. Barlow by KO. I'm sure a lot of people lost that. And Gomez by decision. That also could have gone either way. Sorry for if you're to this point of the video. Sorry for the late post for the recap, but I am busy during the week. I do have a real job. And stay tuned for most likely Friday for my picks for the C313 fight card, Pereira versus Ankalaev. Now, I do have big hopes for this one because in UFC 300, that was my biggest win. You'll probably hear this from me multiple times throughout the years to come. But UFC 300, I'll make a whole video about that long shot parlay I hit. And I'm basically just hooked and trying to chase another long shot like that, but to actually lay some real money on it. But whenever Pereira's on a fight card, I look forward to it because he was on the one for UFC 300 and helped me cash out $1,800 for a $1 bet. Him amongst other fighters. Anyway, have a good week, and I'll see you guys on Friday.